Salve discipuli. Okay, we're going to look at some more grammar from lesson 50. We talked about the deponent verbs in class. Now we're going to look at what are called special place constructions. Okay, so what this ultimately amounts to is unique ways to say in, at, from, or towards. Okay? These are unique ways to say in, at, from, towards, things like that. The first thing we're going to learn is what's called the locative case. Now, you are not going to have to learn new endings, okay? But there is this thing called the locative case that tells you where something takes place. So you're going to translate it in or at, right? In school, at the pool, all right? At home, in the road. Those would be examples. Now, usually in Latin we use in plus an ablative to do all of that. But with this word rus ruris, the word for country, if you want to say in the country, you don't say in plus an ablative form here. You just use the form ruri. All by itself, this word ruri means in the country. Okay, that's it. You see the word ruri? There doesn't need to be an in front of it. There won't be an in front of it. It just means in the country. Similarly, domus domus, the word for home, if you see it written domi all by itself, that can mean at home or in the house. Okay, that's what's called the locative case. It is telling you where something is located. In the country, at home. So again, neither one of these will show up with the preposition in. Boom, won't happen. You just see ruri and you know it means in the country. You see domi, it means in the house. All right, now, this is pure madness what's coming your way now. Okay? When the Romans were talking about cities, towns, or small islands, and you might be wondering, what makes an island small? I don't know. But when they talked about cities, towns, and islands that seemed to be smaller than other islands, which were larger than the small ones, they used a locative case. In terms of how to form it, it's kind of funky. If you were looking at a place name that followed either first declension singular pattern, like Roma, Romae, that's first declension singular, or second declension singular, like Actium, Acti, right? This is a first declension ending singular form. This is a second declension ending singular form. If you're looking at a first declension or second declension singular place name, the locative, the case that means in, looked like the genitive. In other words, Romae, which looks genitive to us, can be the locative, which means it can mean in Rome. Pretty funky, right? But Romae all by itself can mean in Rome. The Romans would not write in Roma. Whoa. They would not do this. And they definitely wouldn't do it to look so sloppy. They did not write in Roma like this. Blah. No, no, no. They write Romae, and all by itself it means in Rome. Actium, another city, since it's second declension neuter. Second declension singular. If they wanted to say in Actium, they would produce the form that looks like a genitive, and it means in Actium, all by itself. All right. What if they had a noun, place noun, that followed a first declension pattern, but first declension plural, right? I-arum, like Athens. Notice this word is plural in Latin, just like it's plural in English. Athens. You hear the S. So this is first declension plural pattern. Or if you had a third declension noun, right? Third declension place name, like Memphis. Okay? or sardes, sardium. Okay, this is third declension plural. These are all cities, towns, or small islands. And they follow either a first declension plural or a third declension pattern. Okay? When you have an instance like that, the locative, the way you say in or at, can look like the ablative, Athenes. This can mean in Athens. Okay? Or you got a third declension example. It looks like the ablative, in Memphis. You got a third declension plural pattern. All right? In Sardes. And then on rare occasions, and this is particularly annoying, on rare occasions, a third declension one might look like the dative form, Carthagini. This means in Carthage. Okay? It's pretty funky stuff. So, what that's going to give us is the following possibilities. Or, well, let me back up. What that means for us is the Romans would not write in the ablative form of any of these that are cities, towns, or small islands. They would not write in plus the ablative. If they're first or second declension singular, they'd use a genitive form to say in. If they're anything else, they'd use an ablative or dative form to say in. The Romans ultimately, with cities, towns, and small islands, did not use ad, de, ex, ab, or in, like I've discussed. So, Roma in the actual ablative could mean from Rome. Romam in the accusative could mean to Rome. So instead of writing Roma in the ablative, which is what we would normally do, they simply wrote Roma in the ablative, just like that, with no preposition, and everybody knew it meant from Rome. Instead of writing ad Romam, which means to Rome, they just put Rome in the accusative, Romam, with no ad, and everybody knew it meant to Rome. Okay? This is pretty bizarre. This is pretty complicated. It's weird. All right? You've watched this video. You've taken notes. That's good enough. We'll talk more about it tomorrow and try to make sense of it. Okay? Wow, later.